Belgium's newest hope for post metal or post black metal, or they have their very own name for it. We'll talk about that in a moment. So I'm very happy to talk with Tur and Ton from Mother. Hi guys, good to have
Hey,
you here on our interview. And
Hi, Thurston.
so, first of all, I guess that not everybody is familiar with your band, although you already started like 4 years ago. Your first record came out last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was self-released, right?
yes.
Yeah,
And even I have to say, mea culpa, shame on me. I only discovered it a few days ago when Tur sent me a copy of it, and it's really, really good, guys. It's really good.
thank you.
It's a very fresh take. I like it a lot. But as I said, not everybody will know you. So, what do you do in the band, please, in short?
Hi, my name is Tuur. I play the guitar and I do the vocals in the band Mother. I'm not sure if any more info is needed about me. Maybe Tom can take
Cool.
over.
Hi, my name is Ton. I play drums for Mother. Um, so yeah, that's it actually.
And basically, we started a band a couple of years ago. That's what happened with
But
a third person, our bassist Lynn, who couldn't make it here.
no problem. So who does the vocals once again?
Yeah,
Tur,
me.
that's you.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, of course, I have to ask that with the name of your band. So, how much do you like Danzig?
I don't mind it. It's not really a band I grew up with, so it's not like I know the repertoire. I do know the song, of course, and it's a good song. I think the first time I heard it, it's probably, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but like the GTA San Andreas area where it was in the playlists. I think
Yeah,
that was the
it
period
was.
I started to know them. Yeah.
So, of course, just a fun question because I know that you didn't take the name of your
No,
band from the song.
no.
So, but why did you choose the name?
I think there was a time like, yeah, 4 years ago when we were like starting to write music. Um, we were looking for, of course, a band name, and like every search for a band name, it's difficult, and you always get like, I like it, I don't like it. And I was watching at that time. I was watching the Bates Motel, a series
Hmm.
on that was on Netflix at the time, and it's about um, oh, what is the movie called again?
Psycho.
Psycho. That was, yeah, Psycho. Of course, it's like the sort of prequel series from Psycho, and I really liked how the young Norman Bates interacts with his mother. And it's very like friendly, like, yeah, mother son relationship, but at the same time it's very distant. He doesn't like, he doesn't call his mom like mom or whatever. It's like really distant mother, and I like the way their relationship worked, and how through the seasons it became more and more obscure and weird. Like, does he like her, doesn't he like her, is she good for him, vice versa. And that like stuck with me, and I proposed it to the band. We discussed it multiple times, and basically it stuck with us.
Um, so, of course, the first association that I have is the original movie where he runs back up to the house and then just screams "Mother!"
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's like okay. So,
Indeed.
what is the relationship to your mother? Maybe not everybody sees it, but the two are brothers. So, what is your relationship to mom?
Oh, very good. Yeah, very good. She's like the
She's the
most,
best.
yeah, she's the nicest person alive. No, 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 she's a great mom, a
Does
very
does
great
she
mom.
like your music?
She does.
Yeah, supporter number one, of course, like every mother
That's
is.
a good thing.
She's,
Well,
she's the
my
one.
mom wouldn't be, but that's a
No.
different story. But okay. I also like the ambiguity of it. You've already mentioned it when you spoke about Bates Motel. So basically, there is this kind of ambiguity in the term, because of course, a mother is like the giver of life, probably the closest bond a person will ever have. But what happens if the mother then pushes away the child?
Mhm.
That turns it into a totally different thing. Was
Yeah.
that also something that is important to you and for your band?
Yeah, I think we didn't want to. It was too obvious to give the mother the position or in the relationship like, oh, you go to her for comfort, and we wanted to write more in the sense that the mother could also be the bad guy, or maybe have the bad girl in this instance, or have a double agenda, her own schedule, things she wanted to accomplish, and that's how it started. Um, I myself was in a more when I was writing the lyrics was also more in a state of mind. I just came out of a rather difficult period, and I was looking for a way to write that down, but not like uh, this happened to me or whatever, or this is a situation, but more like um, make it more, yeah, more strange, not sure what's happening. um I wanted to have in that story a person that the protagonist could rely on, but at the same time the person that you trust is at the very brink of maybe betraying you for their own interests. And that basically started the lyrics um, for Mother One.
You've already indirectly mentioned it. It's your first album is named Mother One.
Mhm.
It is said to be the first in a trilogy, right?
Yeah, yeah. In the way that first of all, when we started writing, um, you always come to the point like, okay, we have a band name now, and then it's like, oh damn, we need an album title. Maybe we need song titles, and I think we always, especially me, I think Don also, we're always into like not just the typical 3 minutes 4 minute song with a bunch of cool riffs, an intro, an outro, a breakdown, but more in like the let's try to tell a story, a big story. At that time I was also listening like to bands who made long songs. One of the most interesting I found, but it's out of the genre we play, but also in the metal genre, was An Even Structure. They are a French band, but they're like more in the progressive metal genre, and they were like the first band I heard that made it like also a concept album, basically a one song album, uh, that I found so intriguing that it was something like, if I could ever have a band and be able to write like one big story, that would be completely cool. And in that sense, the story was more important to us than like having cool song titles or an album title. And in that way, we were just like, maybe just give it something vague, like one. Let's call it one because it's a start. Um, and the way the album was written, basically the final chords, even though they fade out, they allude to something next. And Mother 2, as it might be called, um, um, has a rough draft. We have rehearsed some of it, like just to feel how it sounds. And if you would put those together in a live performance, or just like CD next to CD, and you would play it through them, we hope you are not able to hear there's a new song starting. It's just like one continuous story.
Okay, when you already indirectly answered my next question. So it is some kind of a linear story that you're trying to tell.
Yeah,
In
definitely
the sense that it
musically.
doesn't jump forwards and backwards.
Yeah, definitely. Musically, it's like just one continuous story, and lyrically, if you read the lyrics, it has a start and ending points, but it does give the option to continue the story or to maybe retell a story within the same universe, and yeah, on the next music that will be written. Yeah.
So you are already in the process of writing the second album, or drawing out the second album.
Yeah.
More drawing out than already having something.
Yeah. Corona helped a lot.
Yeah, I guess. I also cannot envision you guys sending sound files back and forth. I guess that's not the way you work, right?
It kind of depends. The cool thing is that nowadays everyone has a laptop computer and some sort of sound card to record stuff.
Yeah.
And MIDI drums can go a long way actually, just to get some sort of vibe going on and trying out some stuff. So in a way, dude writes music and places some drums, like just what he has in his head. Sends me a Logic Pro file, and I open it up, and then I go through it, and I think, oh, those drums, that is possible to play as a human being, those are not, and then I start adjusting some stuff, and then we come to a point where we try to play it in a rehearsal room.
Yeah, that's true.
Then that's the moment actually when things start really shifting.
Yeah.
And the stuff
I
we're
also
writing.
I always try to, when I find a riff that I found very interesting to write around. Most of the time starts with like 1 minute and suddenly becomes 10 minutes, and that's the point that I'm like, okay, cool, let's quickly take a bass, put something underneath, let's fix some drums, so so I just have a vibe to show to the rest of the band. And then, like Tone says, that's the moment it starts to happen. Everybody checks, like, okay, what's possible, what's not possible. Can we change something to make it more cohesive or maybe interesting? Like basically with Mother One, I think we played that for over a half a year in rehearsal rooms. And then suddenly we're like, okay, let's cut out 15 minutes because it could be better. And then we start writing again, and yeah. So basically somebody starts, and then we just throw everything together and work around it till we get something we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even to the point where we film ourselves playing the rehearsals, so we have the footage we can look at afterwards and say, oh, that part is not good, that one is, so we're gonna try to translate that into Logic with some MIDI drums. And stuff keeps evolving.
We basically Ton is making it look very cool, but basically we also did it because when we rehearsed, there were no drum parts. So we did mini stuff, and Ton likes to like improvise during rehearsals to see what sticks. But we played it, and then 10 minutes later was like, yeah, that was a cool riff. What did you do? A cool fill? And it was like, oh, I don't remember what I played. I was like, oh crap. That's basically also where we started recording. So I could say like, yeah, that part.
That's the part.
Let's keep it. Yeah. So we have a big backlog of studio, no rehearsal recordings. Yeah.
Okay. You indirectly already opened up another question for me. You've spoken about uneven structure being an influence on your storytelling and probably also a little bit on your songwriting. Would it be wrong of me to assume that at least one of you has a little knack for Tool? Because I had a feeling when listening to a few of your songs that it was like, okay, that sounds a little bit like taken out of Lateralis.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
on my part, to be honest, I really like Tool.
So at least I
like the
wasn't wrong
drums.
with 1/3 of a band.
Yeah, I like the drums very much, being played by Danny. But actually, that's the sort of band Tool I listen a couple of times, and then for a long period of time I don't listen to them.
Yeah.
So it could be that some parts might have sticked
Tulip,
at
what
some
do you say?
point.
Well, just like Tool, of course, Tool is a band you should have listened to once in your lifetime, and you probably there's no way around it with songs like Schism. But what I try to do when writing, I try to like not listen to music at all, to like forget what's out there, because what happened a lot in the early days before this band with other projects, just writing, you always get in a vibe like, oh yeah, Mastodon is really cool band, and then suddenly you take a guitar and then like, oh hey, that's cool, and then oh no, that's too Mastodon like. So that happened a lot, and I started to not listen to other bands that might be some influence, to just make sure that I didn't start writing like them. But of course, yeah, some Tool might be, of course, in there. That could be a possibility, of course.
What I found very interesting was the beginning of a record, because it somehow leads you astray. At least it led me astray. I was thinking, okay, this is a very good post-metal instrumental band, and then all of a sudden, with a second song, it completely changes. I guess that was intentional, right?
Was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so
No,
too.
No, I do remember just in the writing process, I think to be truly honest, I think the second song at some point was the beginning of everything, like of the album, and then we were like, yeah, that's a weird point to start at, and then basically we wrote around it, and then the first 15 minutes came, or no, you mean the second song that starts like
No, I actually mean the first song on the album.
Yeah. But you mean like it sounds different when going to the second song of the album.
Yeah, the transition from track 1 to track 2 was it was like very, very different. You know, track 2 is
it's
it's even in a different genre.
Yeah.
You know, the first one is a little bit like Russian Circles, and then it opens up to something totally bigger.
Yeah, forget everything I said about that.
We were already at the third part, so but that's actually the thing, that the music was not written in parts.
So let's cut that out. So we'll cut that out. So guys, we'll put something in between here. Okay. Shout out to Sebastian. You'll make it work.
Perfect.
Thanks, Sebastian. Love you.
Yeah, Sebastian is the best. So let's do this again. So when listening to the first track of the album, which serves like an intro, you are leading the listener astray a little bit, right? Because it sounds like a classic instrumental post-metal band like Russian Circles or you name it. But then track 2 comes up and it opens up a completely different world. Was that your intention?
I think after the intro, part 1, I think we were looking for something to like, okay, we've led up to like a peak. I think literally when you play it on the guitar, you're like going to the high notes, layers are coming in, and then we're looking like for, okay, how do we like make this explode without like going already all the way, but making it like something different. And that's how basically the second part came in, looking for a way to transition between the first part and basically the seventh part. Basically, it's all a big transition, and we do not really, I think, shy away from like trying something else maybe, and going from one part to the next, using different techniques, not like difficult techniques, but just like not being afraid to keep the listener maybe on their toes. It's maybe difficult for us to explain because we're so used to it how it is. So hearing it to say like that, yeah, makes me question, of course, everything the way we written it.
You have to get rid of a drummer.
That's true.
I also like the guts that you have by inventing your own genre. Post-blackgaze. I mean, like, a year ago, blackgaze was, or 2 years ago, blackgaze was the in sound. Everybody was listening to Death Heaven and everything. And now you come up with post-blackgaze. I mean, it's self-invented, right?
I'm not sure. I have we seen it somewhere around on the
No, that's
internet?
why I
I have no idea. I think
I think there was a point that you start playing shows and people start asking what's the genre.
Yeah.
And then it becomes something quite difficult because it's not only black metal or only blackgaze, but it's also not only post rock or post metal, and it's something in between. So at a certain moment we said, yeah, it's a combination of post rock and shoegaze and stuff. And then someone somewhere, I think, for a flyer or something like that, just like blackgaze, post blackgaze, and then it was born suddenly. I think
that's also the reason why I put up the Witch Trail album in the back, because they're also post metal, post whatever thing. So
cool.
but I like the idea of not shying away from stuff. That is something that I like a lot about your record. You speak about an ebb and flow very often, and your whole record has this ebb and flow. I know that you're from Ostend, in Belgium. For everybody who doesn't know it, Ostend is on the coast, on the North Sea coast. Do you think that had some kind of influence on you, this living with the tides?
It sounds very symbolic. It sounds cool, but I just think it's the first time I heard like the ebb and flow thing. It was somebody who said it on a show to try to explain how our music sounds or feels, and it like stuck with us the way it is, because it does feel like that for us too, to be able to go very quiet, very fragile, and not in seconds, but being able to go all the other way, to like break loose. So yeah, it does kind of describe what we are trying to convey, because an album doesn't need to be 45 minutes of just pure hatred and blast beats and whatever, and it doesn't have to be completely happiness and open chords. So I think it's fun for us to play it that way, to have the difference.
Would you say that if you only stuck to one side of the emotional spectrum, either totally happy, shiny happy people, or also like Vessel of Iniquity, like everything is black, there is no light at no end of a 12-kilometer tunnel, would you say that takes away some kind of credibility, because life is not completely black and it's not completely white? So would you say that if you have to have those contrasts?
In my opinion, when you compare the music to the person a mother could be, it's also gray. And I think, metaphorically speaking, then that's what keeps it interesting as well, because it keeps the listener on their toes, but it also keeps us on our toes. Even whereas there's parts where even I still playing the shows, playing the same song after all that time, I still have parts where my hairs on my arm go up because I feel it. And I think if I have that moment, more people will have it as well. And therefore, I think it's a good thing. It can be gray, but it also can be white and black or something pink, whatever.
Yeah, I think what Don says is correct. I think the existence of just everything is darkness and the existence of everything is light is completely okay. Even more, it's perfect that it exists, because even I have moments where I'm like, all right, let's put on an album and I just want to hear 45 minutes of pure evil. But I think for us, the way we grew up with music, the way we feel music and write music, it just feels like there needs to be some gray. There needs to be a moment to like chill out is maybe the wrong way to say it, but relax in the song, knowing that, okay, the ebb and flow feel, and we feel like, okay, within a couple of seconds, within half a minute maybe, we're going to explode, it's going to be dark, it's going to be moody, and I think it defines us a little bit in the way we play or write.
And I mean, of course, you know, without white, black cannot exist. You know, if everything is black, then it's always on the same level. And that is something that I also like about your record. It never gets boring. I mean, of course, it's a genre that we have all heard before, true, but it's never predictable. I mean, your stuff is also not predictable. So that is something that really, you got that going for yourself really well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're from Belgium, so how important was the Belgian scene for you when starting to write your own stuff, when playing your own first shows, when coming onto a label like Consouling Sounds now? How important is the scene for you?
I think the scene is very important, and it's also quite difficult in a way, because we have some very great and awesome bands. So a comparison is easily made. For instance, the comparison with Amon Ra is very easily made because they're like the best in what they do. And then you have the part where they're awesome and great, and then you have the part where you try not to be like them because it's already there. We don't have to do that. And then it becomes then at a certain moment it becomes something like, oh, it's cool, they compare us to another band. It could be Belgium, could be outside of Belgium. And then you come at a certain point where you think, okay, now I don't want to be compared anymore, because that's not what we do. But then I think it's really cool that the guys at Consouling picked us up and are helping us out, and they do crazy cool stuff.
Yeah,
I guess you also fit the label very well, because, as I said, your music is not like very one-sided. It's very open. It plays with a lot of other parts: shoegaze, black metal, post metal, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the cooperation with Consouling is a very welcoming one. We're very glad to be on a label that I think can be called one of the pioneers in Belgium and maybe even neighboring countries for this genre, for this kind of bands, for this kind of I want to say the word happenings, because because it's not just about the music or whatever. It's more, it's broader than that. It's more than that. They try to look for the complete package and experience, and it's cool that on a label like Consouling you can find one of the the darkest bands, and at the same time, like in metal, and at the same time you can find something completely different, but you feel the same. The feeling is the same when listening to those bands. So it's very cool to be able to be on that label.
I think that the correct thing to say about Consouling would be they have bands on their label who need to be experienced, and not in a way like they have to be the best players in the world, not in that way to be experienced, but like to experience them as a listener. And if it's electronic music or opera or something else, they're the place to go.
Yeah, they're not about what is the easiest to promote. They're like what sounds cool and indeed gives the best listening experience.
They're also not predictable, right? It's not like Victory Records or Trustkill Records or Relapse, who Relapse turned a little bit, but with Trustkill and Victory, you knew what you got. Discord, you know, there are lots of famous and very well-run labels, but you know what you're gonna get, and that is something that Consouling is definitely not. Are there any bands on Consouling's roster? You have already mentioned Amen Ra, Ton. Are there any other bands on that roster where you say, okay, the way they did it, that is some kind of role model for us, or that is something that we would also like to do?
Tom?
Go ahead.
Well, I think bands like Alkerdale and Pothamus, who also released their first album last year, are bands we look up to. Also bands like Eleonora, just bands that like try to be true to their self, try to be honest in their music, and bands that show it in different ways, like in their artwork, the way they recorded it, the way they play their music. Like Alkerdale is like the most nastiest music you can hear. It sounds not in a negative way, like they just put one mic in their basement and they just like completely recorded a song, but it's so powerful, it's so nasty, and it completely defines how they are and sound to me. So yeah, definitely a lot of bands on Consouling to look up to and to be like, okay, that's cool what they do. Let's try to find our thing, just like they did. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. With Alkerdale, I always wonder, because I've now heard so many people talk about that band. They're very close to my heart. They're the only band who I got on there twice with Swamp.
I just noticed.
Gnawer Tongues collab. I just love the guys. They put out amazing music, but whoever I talk to experiences them differently, and that is also something that I find interesting about Consouling Sounds, and that I also find interesting about you. I guess that you could ask 10 people and you would get at least 8 different versions of what you sound like. And I think that also has to do with the production of a record. Your record does not sound out of time, but it also doesn't sound as if it was done for 2020 or 2021. Now, what I found interesting was that you chose Jeff Claes to do the recording, and I think generally the production, right?
Yeah.
Why did you choose him? Because I looked it up, and he's not really a metal producer, right?
No. He's a hometown friend, actually, and he's a sound engineer, of course, and I'm also a sound and light engineer, so we worked together a couple of times. So I started talking to him about the band and the way we would like to do things and stuff. And he's a guy who does everything the analog way, or at least as much as he can. and I think that was really the thing, that he tried to make it sound the way it is and not to make it something pleasing the genre or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, what's cool about Jeff, that is, he's not like, okay, bands like SLA Dying and Killswitch Engage, who are very pleasing to the ear. They sound so good, production
Clean.
wise, very clean, but maybe too clean. And something we didn't want to have is like be the next band that people may be like, okay, this is cool, but
could
maybe,
be Killswitch.
yeah, could be too generic. And he's the kind of guy who's like, okay, let's go in the studio, let's record. But when you've played your take or played whatever that needed to be done, he's not like, okay, let's clean everything perfectly up, let's sample everything, let's overdub everything 20 times or whatever. He's just like, yeah, this is how you play it, this is your honesty when playing it. And if you, for example, make a small mistake in a fill, or there's maybe a little string noise in the guitar, that's honesty in the way you play it. It's not about, oh no, there's a little noise. No, it's about, okay, you play guitar, there's a performance in it. Just basically like in the old days, the 60s, the 70s, whatever, where they just like try to capture a performance and not to try to capture the most clean way possible to make it the most pleasing to the ear of the listener. Not go to the, like, it's like you have the what is it called, the war to maximize everything, to make everything as loud as possible. Let's not try to do that. Let's not be afraid to have something very quiet in there. Let's not be afraid to like let it explode, because it will explode more, because you have the dynamics in the way it's played. And that really stuck with us, and that's the reason we work together with Jeff. And maybe there's some other things in the coming that we did with Jeff. So a little teaser.
That's always good. Was it also maybe in some ways because you said that he's like a local guy for you? He comes from the same area, and I think I read somewhere that the songs were recorded over a longer period of time, so it probably also needed to be someone from around town, so that you didn't have to do it in one go, right?
Yeah, it's it was recorded in longer periods of time, in two facets. The first one is we did a lot of the initial recording ourselves, and it took a long time to be like, okay, this is okay, this is cool, this is what we want. So I think it almost took us like a year, because Jeff wasn't there initially from the start. So it took us, I think, a year to be just like, okay, this is something we can work with. And on the other hand, there's also the thing that we wanted not to record like, okay, this is 4 bars of music, this is one riff, okay, loop it, let's play it 20 times, stop, next riff, and we'll like crossfade it or whatever. No, it was like, okay, let's try to play 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. Big parts, to have it as organically as possible, and not have the thing we discussed earlier, to have it as clean as possible, but keep it true to the performance.
So how old are some of the songs on your record?
I think you can find notes that are literally 4 years old. I think that the oldest part that's in it might be part 3. Part 3 and part 4, I think, are the oldest, that are really the early days. And we cut some away from 6 and 7 to rewrite it, and the same with 1 and 2 came later in the picture. So yeah, 3 and 4, I think.
So interesting. You've already said you're already drawing out album number 2. I guess that you have a rough idea where you want to go with those 3 albums. But what happens to Mother after record number 3?
I have no idea.
Don,
We
do
have no
you
clue.
have one? Or
No.
is that the moment when you have to kill your brother because his last record is too complicated?
No, we have no idea. We
Okay.
it's like we have this idea what we want to do, and we have a rough sketch of where it needs to go until 3, and then we have
Until
to
including 3 or...
Until including 3. There,
Okay.
on different parts, there is like musically and visually, some things are already in place for the complete trilogy. It's basically after that.
we have no idea.
There's no plan. We
And
will.
the band will rename itself into Father.
It might.
Could be.
It might.
Could be.
we go play some jazzy country music. I don't know what we'll do.
Yeah. Okay. We're almost at the end. I just have a few questions for you. Your album of 2021 so far.
Yeah.
End
Don?
of July. What is
End of
your
July.
album of 2022?
Oh man, end of July.
I think
Right
it's
now, what is your record of the year?
I think it's the new Cult of Luna record.
The EP?
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Raging River.
I really like it.
I was recently looking for that. What I would think was like the best for me. And to be honest, I really like the Amen Ra record. Of course, it's the Doorn is a great one. But I thought that would be too easy to say like, yeah, that's the big one for me. So I'm going to be truly honest, and it's not out yet, but I pre-saved it, and I'm actually really eager for the new Billie Eilish album. I don't know why, but I like the way their music is written, and I like to listen to music that's not metal related and that has like a nice twist to it. And I'm not sure, like, have you if you heard the previous Billie Eilish album?
A few
Yeah.
songs, but you
Yeah.
know, like too much
Yeah.
to listen to and review.
Of course. But
But,
it's it's dark, it's moody, and that's the way. It's cool. It's cool.
It's not shiny, happy people pop.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
it's gray.
It's gray. Yeah. Basically, it's gray. It has
with a lot of black
bit of
streaks in
everything.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I think in the pop realm, she's one of those artists that have a very strong appeal to metal because of the themes that she presents and the way she presents them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Although, of course, her music is definitely cleaner than yours.
That's true.
Absolutely.
5 quick-fire questions to end this.
Cool.
And both of you have to answer. And I
Okay.
just had an interview 2 days ago with a couple,
Yeah.
and they were agreeing on everything. I really like the two. They're nice, their music is great, but I really hope that now we get some discussions. So, Neurosis or ISIS?
Isis.
Neurosis.
Ooh, the brothers. Who said Neurosis?
I said Neurosis.
So Dawn is
Yeah.
more on the ISIS side. Okay.
Yeah.
Vinyl or streaming?
Both.
Yeah, both. But to clarify, I like vinyl for like the physical value. It feels nice. It has some. It's vinyl. It's cool to have it. But I do like streaming just for the functionality of it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. Same.
Especially to discover new music and bands and be like, okay, let's go ride a bicycle
So what
or
is
whatever.
your streaming go-to service?
Apple Music.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Ooh! I would have
Discussion
thought
number
that both of
2.
you say like Bandcamp.
Oh no.
which I really like. I like
Of
Bandcamp,
course,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
of
think you have
course.
to use it a lot to get most of it,
Yeah,
most
that's
out of it.
true.
Exorcist, The Exorcist, or The Shining?
Shining,
Same.
Shining, definitely.
Can you explain why?
I just like the movie. I really like the movie. I just like it.
Interesting, because Stephen King didn't like it. He even made his own version of it. And with that, we're already at the next question. Stephen King or Lovecraft?
King.
King.
Yeah. King. I like
And
it.
now a question. What?
I like it, the movie.
Yeah.
It's, I really like it.
Which one do you prefer? The old version or the newer one?
I'm too young, to be honest, to there's a point some people like say, oh, this kind of movies are too old for me. I have that, I think, with movies that like are older than the I think 95, 93, 90s. So everything that it's like older than that, it becomes difficult. You know what I mean? It becomes difficult because
No,
you know.
I don't know what you mean, because
No, you don't. I do like the new It's. I really like the new It's. It was, I think it was very filmed cool. It was very gritty, and I've got to be honest. I have not seen the old It in its complete package. I have seen fragments and stuff, but I have not seen it completely.
Tone, would you agree? The original or the newer version?
I think you have not seen one of them.
Ooh!
I'm not sure if you have seen it.
I haven't.
I knew it.
But that's
If
not
you
something to be ashamed of.
No,
But I
that's
think
true.
if I had to watch one of them, I think I would watch the old one.
Nah.
I have to say that I like the old one a lot. I definitely do. But I can also say that the new one has been done really well. It
Mhm.
sticks very well to the way it was done in the 80s. But then again, I mean, like, it was the first one I saw. So I would still have to stick to the original.
Yeah.
By the way, a very good Stephen King adaptation was this 11/22/63 thing about the assassination of Kennedy. That was a very good series. If
Oh.
you ever get to see that somewhere,
Cool.
Yeah, I'll check
very
it
well
out.
done.
Cool.
It's really, really good. And now, last question, and I guess that Belgians will answer that on the same level. Beer
man.
or wine?
Wine.
Yeah, wine.
Ooh!
Wine.
I would have
yeah.
thought, like, the Belgians, like 10 million breweries with 5 million people.
So then you drink wine.
No, I always I think it's not a popular opinion, but I find beer to be something for me to just be like, okay, when I'm on I'm going out or whatever, and the music is loud. There's not much lights anymore. The moon is shining. Okay, let's go for beer. The cheapest option. Just going out with friends. Definitely go beer. But if I have to choose for the rest of my life, one of the two, wine. It tastes so much better. In my
Red or
opinion.
white?
White. Oh,
White.
screw red. Ah, so dirty. So dirty wine. Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Okay, so thanks a lot for this interview, guys. We're very
No
happy
problem.
to have you here, or to have had you here. Once again, I can only suggest that to everyone, if you haven't listened to Mother by Mother, please go out, do it. It's album number 1. It was a great surprise for me. I really loved it from beginning to end. And I'm already looking forward to number 2. So thanks a lot for being with us, guys.
Thank you, Torsten,
Thank
for
you for
inviting
having
us.
us.